Okay, good evening everyone and welcome to the fourth week instructor interaction for the cohort 2 of the Blockchain Foundation program. Myself Nikhil V. Chandran. I am going to explain about the fourth week contents and about what lies ahead for you in the blockchain journey. So till now, if you have completed till week 4, then congratulations on reaching till week 4. Now moving towards the next section, this will be the last or the fourth week of the Blockchain Foundation program, and you will have to complete all the 4 quizzes to earn the certification. So this fourth week content is based on the use cases of blockchain. We will be discussing a bit about the different use cases of blockchain, and also before going on to the use cases, let us see some of the basics regarding the scalability and the security and the decentralization aspect. So this figure, as you can see in the on your screen, is known as the blockchain trilemma, and it was proposed by Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin. So according to Vitalik, this trilemma means that only for a blockchain system or for a normal kind of decentralized system which is not optimized for anything else, then that kind of system will only be able to achieve 2 of these 3, either scalability or decentralization, or scalability and security, or decentralization and security. So that is known as the blockchain trilemma. Only 2 of these 3 features can be achieved by a normal kind of blockchain, because if we can think of the traditional chains, they are similar to the public blockchains that we see, like Bitcoin and Ethereum. They are all decentralized because all the nodes are spread across the network, and they are also secure because they work on the principle of consensus mechanism that is enforced on by the decentralized nature of the blockchain. So you cannot just go on and tamper with the system that easily. So it is decentralized and secure. But such kind of public blockchains, they suffer from the issue of scalability because these blockchains are very slow. Hence, we can say that public blockchains or traditional chains like Bitcoin and Ethereum, they are all decentralized and secure, but they are not scalable. Now moving on to the next kind of blockchain, they are known as typically high transaction per second chains, or high TPS chains as they are known. So these are all working in a restricted node kind of environment because they are typically around 10 to 100 nodes in number, and they work in a very high transaction throughput manner. So they are both scalable and secure, but they are not decentralized because the number of nodes are limited in that case. Examples of these will be the permissioned blockchains like Hyperledger based blockchains like Fabric or Sawtooth based systems. The other kind of networks are the scalable and decentralized ones like the multi-chain ecosystems. So these are working on the principles of cross-platform or cross-chain communication. So these chains, they sacrifice the security aspects because now maybe only 1% of that particular chain is on one particular chain. They consist of multiple chain ecosystems, and they work on the principle of cross-chain communication. So they sacrifice security and they improve on scalability and decentralization. So according to the Ethereum co-founder Vitalik, for a blockchain, if it achieves both scalability, decentralization, as well as security, such a system is a best or the best kind of system, and that will be the next level kind of blockchain. So the Ethereum 2.0 is trying to implement sharding and other kind of proof of stake implementations, and sharding and other advanced concepts are being implemented on the Ethereum 2.0 version to achieve this scalability, decentralization, and security. So that is an advanced topic for another lecture. So week 4 use cases, we have these many different kinds of systems or different areas in which blockchain can be used. So some of the areas are like banking and supply chain, and healthcare and government. So these are not the only areas that the week 4 content is based on, but these are the some of the main areas in which blockchain finds some uses. So let us discuss some of these use cases, like where can we use blockchain in banking, or where can we use it in supply chain. We are not going to in too much detail because you can read the content in week 4 and understand when and where to use the blockchain. So going forward about banking, if you see that statistics of the unbanked population, that is region wise, you can see that in some areas like in sub-Saharan Africa, or in the Middle East region, or in the South Asian region, or Latin America, etc., there are a huge proportion of the population who still don't have a bank account. They are the unbanked population. In sub-Saharan African regions, it is more than 80% of the population are unbanked. They don't have a bank account. But these people, most of them have a mobile phone. They have more than one mobile phones. So the mobile phone penetration is very deep in these regions, but they don't have bank accounts. So globally, there is around 1.7 billion adults who are unbanked. That is an estimate, and around 200 plus MSMEs, or micro, small and medium enterprises, don't have any access to banking services. So how can blockchain help in such a scenario? If blockchain with its wallet, without having to go through a formal verification process, or without needing any kind of KYC requirement, can enable this unbanked population to get on board the mainstream or to the blockchain network, then that kind of network can enable these unbanked population access to the banking system. So that is an unexploited area where there are such a huge number of population who are still not having access to the bank accounts, and they can be onboarded. The digitization process, or the process of onboarding them onto the banking system, can be accelerated by the use of blockchain technology. So that is one area in which blockchain can find great use. Also, another area is cross-border transfers. Suppose you are going to transfer some money from one country to another country, from India to Tanzania or some country in Africa. Then what do? You go to your bank and you ask them, or a money exchange, and you ask them, I want to transfer some money to a friend in some African country, please let me do that. And then you pay some amount, like you might be paying 10,000 rupees, and that will be converted to Tanzanian currency and whatever currency that is in that particular country, and that particular country and that exchange will do that transfer for you, or that bank will do that cross-border payment for you. And in return, the bank will also charge you some money, maybe 5% of that total money. So that will be lost as transaction fees. The same scenario can be achieved by using a blockchain-based wallet without incurring so much transaction cost. Because of the decentralized nature of a public blockchain, we can use wallet kind of applications very in a smooth and efficient manner for cross-border payments. So that is another solution in which blockchain can find some use. Then talking about the supply chain, blockchain use case in supply chain, there are various stakeholders that are maybe member of the supply chain. There might be thousands of companies or thousands of contractors, or in between brokers or suppliers or distributors or retailers that are associated with a supply chain or with any particular supply chain. For I am talking about large supply chains for large companies. So this will pose a huge problem in terms of synchronizing, or in terms of onboarding them onto a common platform. If such a huge number of participants or distributors are there in a common supply chain and the data is not on a common platform, then there can be mismatches between the data and there can be conflicts, or some of the distributors or the suppliers might be talking about billing irregularities, or maybe there are thousands of issues that can crop up when you have so many number of participants in a supply chain. So the best solution that blockchain can offer is to onboard them onto a common platform, onboard the different participants onto a common platform so they can all synchronize their activities, or they can all use the power of blockchain and consensus mechanisms to achieve that same single ledger kind of environment. So that is the advantage of using a blockchain in a supply chain. So this is also similar kind of context used for medical field, like in vaccine traceability or in drug traceability and so on. So the provenance or tracing from the manufacturer to the end consumer is the main use case in supply chain. So these are some of the advantages of having a supply chain or a blockchain based solution for supply chain. You can enable faster and leaner logistics, improve transparency and traceability, and automated commercial processes using smart contracts. So if we are using some kind of smart contracts, then that programmable code will allow us to execute that particular instruction in a smooth and hassle-free manner, so that there need not be any human monitoring the entire process. It is all automated by using smart contracts. And finally, we are coming to the blockchain decision part. Before that, let me remind you, we just talked about supply chain and banking as two use cases. There are also many other areas in which blockchain find uses. So for identifying when and where to use a blockchain, this is known as the blockchain decision path. So you can see here, you can see that there is some questions that you need to ask yourself, and there are some answers for that question. So even if any of these questions, the answer for any of these questions apart from the last question or the seventh question is no, then you don't actually require a blockchain. So let us see what are these questions. So the first question is, do you need a shared common database? So if the answer for that is no, then you don't need a blockchain. If the answer for that is yes, then you ask yourself the next question, are multiple parties involved in that transaction? So if the answer again for the second question is yes, then you go to the third question. If the parties involved have conflicting incentives and cannot be trusted, so they don't have conflicting incentives, they may be competing and they cannot be trusted. If the answer for that is again yes, then we go for the next one. So are they having a uniform rule for involving their actions? Then if the rules governing the participants are uniform, are not uniform, then you can again go for a blockchain. Like if the answer for that is yes, then the fifth question is, do we need an immutable log or an objective function? Does it need to be immutable? Is it required to be? If the answer for that is yes, then again you go for the sixth question. In that we ask ourselves, does the rule for the transaction change frequently? So if the rules for the transactions also change frequently, if the answer for that is yes, then we reach the final question. So if the seventh and the final question is, are the transactions public? So if the transactions are public, we go for a public blockchain, else we go for a permission blockchain. So otherwise, in all the other 1 to 6 questions, if the answer is no, then we don't require a blockchain. So there are very few scenarios in which all these conditions are satisfied. So what the mistake that early adopters or early pioneers of blockchain make is that they try to implement blockchain in everything. They try to decentralize everything, but that is not possible. So those kind of projects just remained proof of concept kind of projects. So you need to understand thoroughly when and where to use a blockchain, and this is one simple decision tree that you can use to make sure that you understand whether your application or your solution actually requires a blockchain as a technology or not. Okay, so now we are coming to the end of this course. So on 30th September at 3 p.m. Indian Standard Time, this course for the cohort 2, the currently running cohort, will end. So you will not be having access to the course content, and your quiz, you cannot attempt quiz after that date and time. Then what will you do after that? What can you do after that? So there are various other programs that KBI is offering so that you can continue on the journey, continue your learning journey on the blockchain. So as I mentioned before, this is just a foundation program. It does not cover most of the technical aspects that you might be having, the basic details. So the advanced version of that, the basics you can learn in the CBA program or the Certified Blockchain Associate program. This is also offered as a self-paced program, that is you can have free access once you onboard onto that program. You have the access to the course materials, lifetime content access, video contents and online assessments, and you can have a digital certificate that you get on completion of all the quizzes, similar to this program. So the payment, I think the fees for the self-paced program is 5,000, and if you complete the blockchain foundation program and you apply within 15 days of completion of your foundation program and you receive the certificate, within 15 days, if you apply for CBA, then you can get a 50% discount on CBA. So you can get it half price. So that's the advantage of completing blockchain foundation program and then applying for CBA program. Then we have the free Ethereum foundation program. So this is actually a precursor to the Ethereum developer program. So if you need, you can have free access to so many contents are available. So similar to the blockchain foundation program, you can have access 1 month content access to the Ethereum fundamentals. You can enroll for free, and the next cohort will start in October. So you can enroll now and access this Ethereum foundation program. That is also a free course similar to blockchain foundation program. So thank you everyone for listening in, and all the best for you to complete all the quizzes and complete it with minimum 60% mark and earn your certificate, and you will be issued a certificate within 15 days. So the deadline, make sure you complete all your quizzes within that deadline, and all the best, and thank you.